See, I'm even sitting here entertaining you.
Do you hear yourself?
Stop it.
Look how you look as a mother. Don't touch me.
The dinner that changed everything, Jackie and Chantel's heartbreaking moment. Jackie Christie never imagined that the beginning of the dinner would mark the start of her most challenging battle this season. As she entered the room, she took charge of the space, sitting at the head of the table. The atmosphere felt strange, even though she spoke in a steady, even tone and offered compliments to lighten the mood. However, it didn't take long for the tension to become palpable, and it was clear that the women weren't buying it. Jackie made an effort to mediate the situation by urging everyone to have a mature conversation and leave the drama outside.
You're not on my level.
I'm a crack addict because I'm small and you try to get lipo anytime you look like me. Okay, big ears.
You're right. But you better keep your ass in that seat tramp. That's what you better do. You're right, Dumbo ears. Yeah, I got a lot of husbands about these ears, bitch. Get a husband. That 48-year-old been working, bitch. You right.
But her attempt to act as a mediator completely failed. When she decided not to give Jackie a free pass, the atmosphere shifted. Evelyn, who had previously been at odds with Jackie during the season, boldly interrupted the small talk by saying, "You're trying to give advice, but you're working." That remark hit hard, and Jackie's body language instantly changed. She became silent, her smile vanished, and the woman who always made a comeback found herself at a loss for words. Evelyn persisted in criticizing Jackie for constantly interfering in other people's affairs while avoiding handling her own family problems. She pointed out that Jackie had invited her daughter with good intentions, but it was evident that Jackie wasn't merely discussing parenting. Despite the fact that everyone was there for dinner, Jackie was obviously the main course, not the food. She didn't protest or defend herself as the room watched her with the spotlight on her. Instead, she just sat there, blinking and listening, until things escalated further. Jackie couldn't ignore this one, as it swiftly escalated from a small-time insult to a personal one.
Hello. It was rude of me. I didn't introduce myself. I'm Shantel. I'm Jackie's daughter. In a little while, Shantel, Jackie's daughter. Nice to meet you.
Jackie attempted to lighten the tension by offering a toast halfway through, but then something unexpected happened. Jackie's face did the talking when Chantel entered. Yes, she was expecting a daughter, but not in this way. At this moment, when everyone was staring at her, criticizing her home life, and raising doubts about her parenting, Chantel entered with a composed yet solemn demeanor rather than a smile or greeting. The quiet at the table spoke louder than words as she purposefully pulled up a chair. The women looked at each other, and some of them whispered, knowing that this would not be easy. Jackie made an effort to remain calm, but the expression in her eyes suggested that she was ready for something significant. And she was correct. When Chantel took a seat, she launched right in, telling the table about an explosive argument she had with Jackie without even warming up. Everyone was genuinely shocked when Chantel claimed that Jackie had struck her, and the room fell silent once more. This was no longer entertainment, it was serious, and all the light-hearted banter and usual chaos of reality TV took a back seat. When Jackie finally spoke, it was hardly a defense, just a quiet attempt to explain, "I never wanted it to happen that way." But Chantel wasn't satisfied. Jackie didn't deny it, didn't snap, and didn't accuse her daughter of lying. Although her voice trembled a little, she remained focused, demonstrating how long she had been keeping this to herself. "Are you upset that I'm no longer afraid of you, or do you believe I disrespected you?" That was a deep-cut line. It directly challenged Jackie's perception of herself as the strong, authoritative mother who always had the last say.
I could be anybody you want me to be. You want me to be in a scary movie? You want me to play a girl screaming and scream? I can do all of that. I need to put on a gun belt. I want to go down the dark alleys. I want to jump over the fence. I want to hurt myself in these movies.
You want to do your own stuff?
I want to have sex in the movies, not real but I want to look like I am.
Okay.
The rest of the table began to slowly respond as Chantel's words lingered in the air. Evelyn leaned back and nearly grinned, revealing that the drama and tension of this moment were exactly what she was looking for. Peak reality TV was this. Beyond the shade, Evelyn's attitude was one of "I told you so." She also had a front row seat. This moment, in her opinion, validated everything she had been implying Jackie wasn't the strong matriarch she portrayed herself as. Instead, she was having difficulties, and now everyone could see it. Conversely, Evelyn leaned into the mess, and Jennifer appeared uneasy. Jennifer looked at Jackie, and her face softened. There was genuine emotion in her eyes, and it was clear that she cared about Chantel. However, the sympathy soon degenerated into hostility with Evelyn, particularly after Evelyn muttered another insult. With one of those silent warnings, Jennifer looked at her as though to say, "This isn't the time." As this was going on, Brittany and Ty, who weren't as deeply ingrained in the inner circle, gave the scene a new perspective, wondering aloud if this type of dispute was the end for Jackie and her daughter. Brittany whispered to Ty. More perceptive, Ty pointed out that it appeared to be a permanent fracture rather than merely a fight. Although they didn't take sides, their body language made it clear that they were witnessing a relationship end in real time and that nobody could foresee whether it would ever be mended. Jackie did something nobody saw coming. As the table devolved into a battleground, Jackie got to her feet silently, her hands trembling a little, her eyes glassy. She didn't scream, defend herself, or even ask Chantel to stop. Instead, she pushed her chair back and began to leave. Chantel made a snap decision. "You're leaving?" "Of course, since that's what you do." The words were forceful, and Jackie was obviously affected. She continued to walk away from the table and through the door without turning around. But as the door closed behind her, a completely new discussion began, one that Chantel wasn't prepared to abandon. All eyes were on Chantel after Jackie left. And for the first time that evening, she let her guard down. She took a deep breath after glancing down at the table. Her next statement was heartbreaking rather than angry. She stated, "It's not just about the fight, it's everything. I never felt loved or accepted as a child, and I was constantly under pressure to prove myself to her." For once, Evelyn didn't break the silence in the room. Chantel persisted, acknowledging that she had felt inadequate for years despite trying to gain her mother's acceptance. She wasn't sure if she still wanted to mend the relationship after sitting at that table and watching it all happen on national television. "I've experienced too much hurt, and I'm not sure if I want to try again." There was no more yelling or accusations at that point. Instead, it was a daughter being brutally honest about the emotional scars she had and possibly still had. Jennifer blinked quickly while attempting to contain her tears. Brittany rubbed her arm, and Ty even leaned in and nodded as though to say, "I hear you." For once, the cameras were documenting more than just drama. They were documenting genuine suffering, genuine family problems, and a young woman debating whether or not a relationship with her own mother was worth preserving. Another storm was brewing just when we thought things couldn't get any more intense. Evelyn stirred the pot once more just as things were beginning to calm down. But this time, she targeted Jennifer rather than Jackie. It began with a remark that initially appeared innocuous. Evelyn responded, "You know, everyone's talking about Jackie, but some of us need to look at our own mess at home." Although she didn't mention Jennifer's name, it was obvious who she was referring to. All season. Wow, what a roller coaster. If you're still here after everything that just went down, thank you for sticking with me through all of that. Tonight wasn't just another reality TV moment, it was something deeper. We didn't just see drama for entertainment's sake. We saw raw emotions, a family's pain, and wounds that have clearly been building up for years finally come to the surface. What started as a dinner meant to bring people together turned into a breaking point, not just for Jackie and Chantel, but for everyone sitting at that table. Whether you side with Jackie, feel for Chantel, or find yourself somewhere in between, one thing is clear: this was real. This was personal. And no matter how glamorous the lights and makeup make things seem, the people behind the cameras are just as human as the rest of us. Jackie tried to hold it all together. She came into that room with confidence, trying to set the tone, trying to be the peacemaker. But even strong women have their limits. And in this case, it all came crashing down when Chantel walked in and brought the truth with her. Not the sugar-coated version, not the edited one for social media, but the one that hurts. The kind that doesn't need yelling to feel loud. Chantel wasn't trying to embarrass her mother. She was finally speaking up after years of feeling unheard. Her pain was written all over her face. And Jackie's silence? That said more than words ever could. Whether it was guilt, regret, or just pure emotional exhaustion, we saw a different side of her tonight. A side that didn't have all the answers. A mother who maybe, just maybe, didn't know how to fix what had already been broken. And then there was Evelyn, always ready to stir the pot, but this time, it felt different. Her comments to Jennifer reminded us that unresolved pain doesn't just sit still, it spreads. One minute you're talking about someone else's issues, the next you're being forced to face your own. That's the power of a moment like this. It doesn't just reveal one truth. It cracks everything open. But let's not forget the others at the table. Jennifer, Brittany, Ty, they weren't just background noise. They gave us a glimpse of how conflict affects everyone, even when they're not the main players. Sometimes the quietest reactions say the most. And in this case, their silence, their concern, their support, it grounded the chaos. So where do we go from here? Will Jackie and Chantel ever rebuild what's been broken? Can forgiveness even enter the room after a moment like that? We may not have the answers right now, but we do know one thing: healing is messy. It doesn't happen in a single conversation or one dramatic dinner. It takes time. It takes honesty. And most importantly, it takes both people being willing to show up and do the work. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Was Chantel right to confront Jackie in front of everyone? Or should that kind of conversation have stayed behind closed doors? Do you think Jackie's silence was strength, shame, or just shock? And let's be real, did Evelyn go too far again? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading and responding because conversations like this matter. This isn't just TV, it's a reflection of real life, and sometimes, reality gets a little too real. If this episode shook you, wait until the reunion. Let's just say, this dinner was only the appetizer. The main course is coming, and chairs might be flying literally. Don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. Because trust me, this story is far from over. Until next time, take care of yourself and your heart.